Oh, it's warm and outside as well. I'm just hearing. Okay, well, I think we've given folk enough time to pop along. So we'll start this session. So welcome to the Glasgow Buddhist Centre online meditation course for beginners. It's a new venture for us. We usually hold these sessions in the Buddhist Centre in Sauchiehall Street. We've got 2 beautiful rooms there that are ideal for meditation. Plenty of room to move and loads of meditation equipment to try out. So we hope when this is over and the lockdown is lifted, you'll maybe pop along to the face-to-face meditations, drop-in sessions. You'll get details of those on the website, and a link will be appearing a bit later on that you can access. So my name's Shanti Vajra, and I'll be facilitating this session. I'll start off with just outlining the day so you know what to expect, or should I say the hour, not the day. There'll be a brief introduction to the session. Then we'll move on to principles of posture. Then we'll do some body awareness. I'll introduce the stages of the meditation that we're going to be doing, which is the Metta Bhavana. And then I'll do a 25-minute led meditation. Then there'll be a period at the end where you can join in with the chat and ask any questions, or you can make any comments about what your experience during the meditation was like. And then just before we finish, I'll give a brief few minutes about how the Glasgow Buddhist Centre works. So why do we meditate? Well, the mind is the cause of all our suffering, but it's also the key to our liberation. We've got a reactive mind and a creative mind, and it's usually the reactive mind that's the default position for most of us, causing us to behave unskillfully. And what we try and do through our meditation is to get the balance back so that the creative mind comes into play more often when we're faced with difficult situations. And that helps us behave more skillfully. So meditation is a means of transforming the mind. The regular patterns of practice enable us to learn the patterns and habits of the mind. And it's a means of cultivating new positive ways of being. There's 2 meditation practices that we teach to beginners. One is the mindfulness of breathing, which you're probably more familiar with. And the mindfulness of breathing helps us calm the mind, settle the mind. And the Metta Bhavana, or the loving kindness meditation, is probably one that you're less familiar with. It's about cultivating kindness and compassion. And these 2 meditations complement each other, because you can't be truly mindful and aware if you bear ill will towards any other sentient being, including yourself. As the old song goes, you can't have one without the other. And it's the metta bhavana that we'll be doing later on today. So we'll now talk about the principles of posture. And I can't really stress enough how important your posture is during meditation. Because the way you sit does have an effect on the meditation that you're going to be doing. And there's 3 keys to a good meditation. And that's to be comfortable, relaxed, but also alert. Now, one of the positions that you've probably seen more often than others is the cross-leg position. And you'll see the Buddha here on the shrine is sitting cross-legged in the meditation mudra. But that can be quite difficult for people sitting cross-legged on a cushion. So there are also meditation stools that you can use in the varying height, so you get a height that suits your physical body and makes your meditation more comfortable. You can also sit astride a series of cushions, a pile of cushions, like you were riding a horse. You sit across the cushions and they adjust the number of cushions that you use depending on the shape of your body. Main thing is that you try to be careful not to put too much strain on your knees or your thighs. And you can use a chair like I'm doing today. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using a chair. Some people use a chair because they're more comfortable, others because they've maybe got a few aches and pains. It doesn't really matter which of the options you choose, but it's a good idea to experiment and try the different postures, and you'll eventually come across one that suits you best. So the main thing is that you want to keep stable and upright. So you have either your feet or your knees firmly on the floor. Or if you're sitting like me on a chair, you've got 2 bones in your backside called sitting bones. And what you do is you try and make contact with those. And they help keep your balance. Stop you leaning too far back or leaning too far forward. You can also put a cushion behind your back if you're using a chair. It's also important that you keep your hands supported so that you're not putting too much strain on your shoulders. And you can do that if you're using a chair or you're sitting cross-legged. If you're sitting on cushions, you just put a cushion on your lap so that you can rest your hands on it. Or alternatively, you can tie a scarf round the middle, round your midriff, and just tuck your hands in. So as I say, it's important that you find a posture that suits you. If we were up at the Buddhist Center, I mentioned that we've got a couple of rooms and they're quite spacious. And there's usually 2 or 3 of us in the team. And while one's leading the meditation, others go around checking people's posture. Unfortunately, we're unable to do that online. But we are developing a series of videos that we're hoping to put online that shows the various postures and the do's and don'ts. So keep a lookout for that. And I think Jeanette will be putting details of the link on the chat if she hasn't already done that. I've got a couple of my colleagues online in the chat that are going to be helping out when we come to the question and answer sessions. So now we're going to do a short set. We're going to do some body awareness, and we'll do that with a body scan. And I'll be ringing a bell at the end of the body scan, like that. And that'll bring the scan to an end, and that'll let us know that we're ready to move towards the next stage, which will be an introduction to the meditation practice we're doing today. It's always good to get in touch with your body before you sit down to meditate, or when you sit down and meditate. You can either do it lying down, or you can do it sitting up. It's important that the body's as important as the mind during meditation. Because sometimes if you're finding the meditation too difficult, or you can't focus, or you're drifting away too much, you can just bring yourself back to your body and how your body feels. So if you just sit comfortably, you maybe be sitting on the floor, you may be sitting on a chair or on your couch. Just get yourself in a comfortable position. And just close your eyes and start to relax. And if you can imagine your body's like a tree, and the upper part of your body is the trunk and the branches, and the lower part of your body is the roots. And just imagine an invisible thread right down through the center of your skull, help keeping you upright. And we'll start creating awareness of our body, starting with our feet and working gently up through our body to our head. So if you just close your eyes, my eyes will be open, but that's just to keep a check on the time, and also any things that pop up in the chat. You just close your eyes. Are you aware of the floor underneath your feet? What does that feel like? What's that experience like? What are you noticing? Just wriggle your toes gently and experience what that feels like for a few moments. If you're wearing socks, are you aware of the material against your skin? What's that feel like? What's that experience like? If you're barefoot, what sensations do you experience with your feet on the carpet? And then just gently let that awareness travel up through your ankles, the shin bones, calf muscles, relaxed, the knees, the thighs, the thigh muscles, the backside on the chair or the cushion. Are you aware of the chair or the cushions underneath your body? What does that feel like? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel stable? Can you feel those sitting bones that I mentioned earlier? Just continue to relax and experience what it feels like, what your body feels like as you're sitting here. Then we'll move towards our inner body. The diaphragm and lungs rising and falling with every breath. What changes do you experience in your body as the breath enters and leaves? Your heart. Is your heart open or closed? Is your heart hard or soft? It's when we close our heart and allow our heart to harden that conflict, anger, anxiety, fear all begin to arise. So soften your heart. Open your heart to this meditation. Your shoulders relaxed, not hunched up round your ears. Just drop your shoulders and relax. Hands resting gently on your cushion or on your lap. And then let that awareness travel down to our hands, through our upper arms and our forearms, to our fingers. And just wriggle your fingers gently, like you did with your toes, and experience what that feels like for a moment or two. Eyes closed, chin tucked in slightly. And just relax. And just breathe in and breathe out quite gently. Let all that tension leave your body. And we'll just sit quietly for a moment or two before I ring the bell. Okay, I'll introduce you to the metta bhavana. We're going to cultivate metta, or loving kindness. Metta bhavana are two Pali or Indian words. Metta is kind of hard to translate directly into English, but it can mean loving kindness, well-wishing. And it's spelled Metta. And bhavana is Bhavana. And na means cultivating. So metta bhavana means cultivating loving kindness. And what we're trying to do with the meditation, we're trying to cultivate empathy and loving kindness for all beings, without fear or without favour. Because metta is non-judgmental. You can't pick and choose who you show kindness towards or cultivate metta for. And if you can imagine the sun is shining as it is today, and it's shining on everybody, and regardless of where they are, who they are, or what they've done. And that's what it's like with metta. If you can imagine your kindness that you're trying to cultivate is for every sentient being. And what we're trying to do is reclaim the energy we waste in irrational thoughts, hatred, and anger, and fear. And there are 5 stages to the practice, and I'll go on a bit more about them a bit further along. So be aware of your body and a sense of relaxedness, and include your thoughts and feelings, allowing whatever is going on to come to mind. You're just observing and feeling. You're not going to be judging or getting caught up in your thoughts. So try and focus on positive thoughts and feelings in your current experience, whatever is kinder or whatever is more beautiful. Reflect on some kindness you showed to someone recently, or something you've seen or heard. And try and find the seeds of positivity in your current experience that will grow into metta. So as I said, there's 5 stages. And I'll ring the bell at the beginning of the meditation, and in between each stage and at the end of the meditation. Don't worry, I'll remind you each stage as we come to it. So the first stage we include ourself and put the positive feelings. We cultivate kindness towards ourselves. We're our worst own enemy. We're our own worst enemy. We beat ourselves up day in, day out. So it's really important that we try and cultivate kindness for ourselves. So just take time to wish yourself well during this stage. And just say a short phrase in your head. May I be well. May I be happy. That's all. Just keep saying that. A little mantra over and over again. If you're a visual person, you might want to reflect on a colour that generates a warm feeling for you, or you associate with warmth. The second stage, we introduce a friend to the meditation. And try and bring your friend's name to mind when we come to that stage. It's good if you don't pick somebody that you're romantically involved with. Just a good friend. And if your friend's image doesn't exactly evoke strong feelings of friendliness, recognize that as your working ground. And the metta bhavana, the art, is always how to create something out of how you feel at that particular time. In the third stage, we introduce a neutral person. Somebody we don't know particularly well. We might not even know their name. But somebody that you have no feelings for one way or another. You don't like them, you don't dislike them, but they're there in your life in some shape or form. It could be somebody that stands at the bus stop every morning when you're going to work or going to college or uni. Could be somebody on the train you see regularly, or the postie, or the person in your local shop that serves you with your groceries. Just bring them to mind. And metta is about your response to them at that particular time, how you feel now. Then we introduce a difficult person for the fourth stage, or probably it's more correct to say somebody that you're having difficulty with. And we bring them to mind. And if you can, bring their name to mind when you're thinking about them. And try and cultivate kindness towards this difficult person. Bringing kindness towards a difficult person or somebody you have an issue with. It's not accepting their behaviour towards you or how you perceive their behaviour towards you. It's just accepting that they're a human being like you and they want to be happy. So we take time to wish them well. In the fifth and final stage, we widen it out to include all the people that we've included in our meditation, but we widen that out to include others, the wider world. As you deepen in self-metta, those aspects of yourself you couldn't face previously, the irritations, fears, grumpiness, etc., are embraced by kindly awareness. The wee monsters we've been ignoring actually join in you in the meditation with you rather than hindering it. It's all part of becoming more integrated and complete. So just take a few moments to settle, and I'll ring the bell and introduce the stages as we work our way through the meditation. The Metta Bhavana. Now we're trying to cultivate kindness, loving kindness towards ourselves. So just shut your eyes. And you might want to think of some happy time you had in the past, a holiday, day out, nice meal, something that brings you a bit of pleasure, a smile to your face when you recollect. And just keep at the back of your mind that you're not judging yourself. We're just sitting with this experience and we're cultivating kindness to ourselves. We want to be well and we want to be happy. You might want to reflect on some act of kindness that somebody showed towards you, how you felt at that particular time. Or you might want to reflect some act of kindness that you showed to someone else. Doesn't need to be a big, grandiose thing. Just maybe making somebody a cup of tea, holding a door open for them, or just giving them a friendly smile as you walk past. And all the time, you're taking time to wish yourself well. You want to be happy, peaceful, and at ease. Now we change the focus of our attention to a good friend. Bring your friend's name to mind when you're thinking about them. And just more or less repeat what you did in the previous stage. You wish your friend well. You want them to be happy. All the things that you want for yourself, you want for your good friend. You might want to reflect on why they are your friend. Some acts of kindness your friend has shown towards you. And all the time you keep wishing this person well. You want them to be happy, peaceful, and at ease. I want to be well. I want to be happy. I want my friend to be well, and I want my friend to be happy. Just open your heart and bring kindness to whatever you're experiencing at this particular moment. Now we introduce the neutral person to the meditation. Someone that we don't know really well. We might not even know their name. Somebody we've no feelings for one way or another. We don't like them. We don't dislike them. But they're there in our life in some shape or form. And use your imagination a wee bit. Open your heart to this particular person. Might be somebody you see standing at a bus stop, going to work, college or university. They're a human being just like you. And they have the same needs and wants. You might have a family that cares for them, cares about them. So just take time to wish them well. It could be one of the shop workers in the local supermarket at a checkout. And just bear in mind that they're risking their life to make sure that you're fed and watered. And take time to wish them well. You want them to be happy. Now we move to the fourth stage and we introduce a difficult person to the meditation. And if you can, bring this person's name to mind when you're including them in the meditation. And remember, we're not judging this person. We're not excusing behaviour or perceived behaviour towards you. We don't know what's going on in the background of that person's life that's causing them to behave the way they are. It's not an excuse. We're putting ourselves in their shoes for a moment. You might want to reflect on what you're bringing to the situation. Is there something you could do or could have done that would make the situation a bit better? Again, we're not judging the person. We're accepting that they're a human being like us. And they want to be well and they want to be happy. Just like the neutral person, your friend, and ourselves. In the fifth and final stage, we widen the meditation out. And we start by including everybody that we've brought to mind during the meditation. Ourselves, our friend, the neutral person, and the difficult person. And we open our heart equally to all of the 4 people. We want them to be well. We want them to be happy. And we want that metta, those positive emotions we've been cultivating through this meditation. We want that to spread out from the 4 people that we've included. And we want to spread it out to ourselves, all the people we've been meditating with in this session. We can't see them. We don't know them. We don't know their names. But we want to include them. We want them to be well and to be happy. And if you can imagine a pond and you throw a pebble into the pond, and after the initial splash, the ripples get wider and wider and wider until they reach the edge of the pond. And that's what we want to happen with this metta, these positive emotions, this kindness. We want it to spread. So try and bring each other to mind. And the world's in need of a great big hug just now. All those people and families that have suffered terribly through this COVID virus. They're just people like us. And all they want is to be well and to be happy. So we bring to mind all of those who've lost their lives and are still suffering. If those who are still suffering, and their families and friends. And all the people sleeping in shop doorways, all the homeless people. They're people just like us, and they just want to be happy and well. So we bring them to mind. And all the people in the countries all over the world suffering from war, violence, hunger, poverty, and in some cases the lack of clean drinking water. They're human beings just like us, and they just want to be happy, and they want to be well. So bring to mind all those people who are suffering at the moment. At the end of the practice, when I ring the bell, Take time to reconnect with the wider world. Let some of the kindness remain with you. Don't leap back into activity too quickly. And I'll just conclude with a short poem by Zen Master Ryokan. If my arms, draped in these black robes, were only wide enough, how gladly I would shelter in them all the people of this floating world. I'm going to move a bit closer to the screen now, so I can answer any questions or queries, or even if you just want to let us know how you felt. Hope that was okay for people. Feel free to make any comments or criticism in the chat room. No problem, Pisani. Well, how I connect with the neutral person is just bring kindness towards that person, recognizing that a human being just like ourselves, they've the same problems, the same wants, the same needs. They fear, they have anxiety, and it's just trying to recognize that fact that they're just a human being like ourselves and bring kindness towards them. I sometimes use the postie that comes every day. I've never spoken to the person. I've never don't know his name, but I try and include them and just show gratitude as well as kindness towards them. Well, that's good, Ginny. Your heart opened a bit wider. That's a positive thing. And it's important that we pay attention to what we're experiencing and how we experience things. Sometimes when you're starting off meditating, it's good to maybe keep a wee journal and write down anything that you experienced or noticed in your meditation. It doesn't need to be big screeds and screeds of writing, just wee notes. And you can reflect back on those and see what progress, if any, you're making. How do I choose them for my practice? Well, it's a good idea before you sit down and do the metta bhavana. Well, it's a good idea before you sit down and meditate to decide which meditation you're going to do, whether you're going to do the mindfulness or the metta bhavana. And if you decide you're going to do the metta bhavana, it's a good idea to have in your mind who you're going to be including in the meditation. It's relatively easy to the difficult part for most people is cultivating kindness towards themselves or for themselves. A friend is relatively easy. Neutral person is difficult. And the person you have a problem with probably isn't too difficult to bring them in mind, but you might have a lot of anxiety and fear about bringing that person to your meditation because you don't know how you're going to react. But it's good just to have the courage to bring that person to mind and bring kindness to the situation. Open your heart to the person. Well, it depends what the story's about, Jinty. Sometimes you've just got to sit with whatever experience arises, and don't try and shut it out, and just sit with that experience and take what you can from it. But always try to react kindly to whatever is arising. Okay, well, I think unless there's any more questions, we'll begin to finish up. And before I finish, I'll just briefly explain how the Glasgow Buddhist Centre works. We operate a practice called dana, or generosity. As Buddhists, we believe we should take what we need and give what we can. And we practice that generosity in the way we run the centre. So we don't charge for any of the courses or any of the drop-in sessions. But if people are able to, we would be pleased to accept donations, large or small. But don't feel under any obligation to make a donation. But I would just say that we're able to provide these courses free through the generosity of other people. If you have already made a donation, thanks very much. And if you are going to make a donation, thanks very much. But honestly, if you can't afford to make a contribution, that's fine. Obviously, our donations have dried up a bit because of the lockdown and the fact that people aren't accessing the centre anymore. So just, it would be really helpful if you could make a donation. And there should be a link just popped up on the chat room where you can make a donation. So thanks very much for coming along today. I hope to see you again. More importantly, we hope to see you at the centre at some point in the future. As well as the drop-in meditation sessions on a Tuesday and Thursday, we're also going to be starting an introduction to meditation and Buddhism course sometime in July. I can't remember the exact date, but if you check the website out, you'll get the details there. So thanks very much. Keep well and keep safe.